Attorney General inspects magazine prison, lashes out at prison officials who fail to engage in their duties properly. Prime Minister inspects the Central Expressway. Cinema halls to be open to public from the 27th of June. Australia's cyber attacks. Prime Minister Morrison warns of sophisticated state hack.
You're watching Lunchtime News on TV1. Now those stories in detail. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa paid a visit to the Central Expressway construction site this morning. The Premier visited the construction site of the expressway in order to observe its progress, as complaints were received regarding the failure to conduct construction work appropriately.
Our correspondent said the Prime Minister observed several locations of the expressway between Meerigama and travelled towards Alawwa. A group including Minister Johnston Fernando joined the inspection tour.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa met with the Advisory Council of Buddhism at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday.
Mahasangha of the Trisex also attended the meeting. The meeting focused on how the government can contribute towards reforms of Sunday schools and Piriven education. During the meeting, the Venerable Thero suggested the monks who graduate and pass Dhamma studies should be provided an opportunity to teach Buddhism at schools.
It is important to create a structured education program for our younger population to live a prosperous life. I have discussed this with various intellectuals through our Viatmaga program prior to becoming the president. We have appointed a presidential task force to create a national policy for this. I have requested this policy to be discussed extensively to be made permanent and not one that changes when the government or president changes. Many Venerable Theros have proposed the idea of government sponsorship on reforms to Sunday schools and Pirivan education, including subjects such as Sinhalese, Tamil, English, Pali and IT to complement teachings of Dhamma in keeping with modern times. We'll work towards finding solutions for these issues after discussing with the officials.
නිලධාරීන් සමග සාකච්ඡා කරලා ඒ පිළිබඳව තීරණයක් අරගෙන විසඳුම ලබා දෙන්නට ක්‍රියා කරනවා.
In one of her headline-making stories, Attorney General Dapulo de Oliveira engaged in an inspection tour at the magazine prison today.
The Attorney General attended a meeting with the Centre for Research and Training in Corrections. The discussion was attended by Acting Commissioner General of Prisons, Tushar Puldenia, and several other officials.
The law and order in prisons have collapsed. Let's be direct. You know the real state of the prisons. I came here after discussing with your senior officials. I have even received information from external parties. There is a group of corrupt officials here. We have to identify them. According to the current state of prisons, these places have now turned out to be a hub of criminals. Prisons have now turned out to be playgrounds of criminals. This has become a center for them to engage in criminal activities. Why is that? It is because there is no discipline here. Major criminal activities are organized in here. There are underworld gangs here. You know there is a group inside and also outside. They get together and organize crimes. They carry these activities out using mobile phones. This should stop. Officials have become messengers now. I came to motivate you. I'm on the stance that we can do this. We have to first understand the reality. Following other views expressed in the political sphere leading up to the general elections on the 5th of August.
2020. Mahinda Rajapaksa held the 2015 election, which was supposed to be held in 2017 because he couldn't leave office. The Ministry of Finance, Economy and the Central Bank were in a dire state. Even the ones who are fed up of the SLPP can now vote for the UNP. We have been unsuccessful for the past 71 years. We are the owners of an enormous pile of debt and we are not in a position to repay the loans. We can continue this, but the President has decided to think in a different perspective. He started this journey without corruption and waste, and now the people have started to think. There is an opinion circulating the MCC agreement, which we rejected during the last presidential election, is slowly brought back. After we came into power, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa made a decision that this agreement will not be signed. In the future, many things will happen. This is a government that lives with lies. They said the central bank bond scam is the largest scam in the country and they will nab the rogues. Now the case is postponed to November again. 2020.
Leader of the Samangijana Balawegaya, Sajith Premadasa, attended a few rallies yesterday. The rally was organized by the Habaradu organizer Tarakanana Ekara of the Samangijana Balawegaya. We are all UNPers. That has not changed. The United National Party lives in the hearts of the people. The UNP is beyond the elephant symbol that they hide behind the walls of Sirikota and try to forcefully make it theirs. The UNP lies in the hearts of you all, the real owners of the party. In our team, there are no bank thieves, no corrupt individuals. We have a clean team. This government was elected as an integral government, a government with a spine, as a government that takes direct decisions. However, this government can't control the prices of salmon and dal. They can do it only for 15 days. This government is under the rice mafia. This government is given for a specific family to get fame. They are worth only 5,000 rupees. With regret, I have to say this, in this situation, this government has focused only on their political whims and fancies.
කනගාටුවෙන් හෝ කියන්නට ඕන මේ කඩා වැටීම තුල වර්තමාන රජය එක දෙයයි හිතුවේ මොකද්ද හිතුවේ දේශපාලන ඉලක්ක දේශපාලන ජයග්‍රහණ.
In more local news, 99 Sri Lankans who are repatriated from Melbourne, Australia, arrived in the island earlier this morning. They arrived in a special flight attached to Sri Lankan Airlines. The group of Sri Lankans arrived in the US 605 flight belonging to the Sri Lankan Airlines. The group was also subjected to PCR tests at the Bandaranaike International Airport. Meanwhile, 4 people who had arrived from Japan were subjected to PCR tests and sent for quarantine. Ministry of Cultural Affairs said that all cinema halls will be open to the public after the 27th of this month.
Secretary to the Ministry of Cultural Affairs, Bandul Harishchandra, said that the cinema halls will be opened in accordance with proper health guidelines. All cinema halls will be disinfected before opening to the public. The Secretary to the Ministry of Cultural Affairs further added that the list of health guidelines that the public should adhere to will be released within the coming few days. All cinema halls were closed down due to the COVID-19 pandemic on the 14th of March. They were closed to the public for 3 months.
The Ministry of Passenger Transport said a new mobile application will be introduced on bus schedules by next week.
The objective of introducing a new application is for a hassle-free service for the general public. Accordingly, information on arrival times, current status and other information can be obtained from the application. The Ministry of Passenger Transport said all preparations are completed to release the application by next week.
In a COVID update for this afternoon, 22 new COVID-19 cases were identified yesterday, with all of them being repatriates. 18 of the cases identified have arrived from Dubai. 2 people who had arrived from Qatar, 1 from Britain and another individual from Russia. Accordingly, the total confirmed COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka have increased to 1,946. 1,421 people have recovered from COVID-19. Headline-making international news. Prime Minister Scott Morrison said Australian organisations, including governments and businesses, were currently being targeted by a sophisticated foreign state-based hacker.
Foreign media reports while Prime Minister Morrison said the government would not take the formal step of publicly naming which state. Senior sources confirmed China is believed to be behind the malicious attacks. The Prime Minister emphasized the attacks hadn't just started, were ongoing and constant threats to Australia, and said the accumulation of attacks required a firm warning to the government and private sectors to harden their shields.
This activity is targeting Australian organisations across a range of sectors, including all levels of government, industry, political organisations, education, health, essential service providers and operators of other critical infrastructure. It is a sophisticated state-based cyber actor because of the scale and nature of the targeting and the tradecraft used.
When asked whether the country responsible had been identified, Morrison said the federal government would not be making any public attribution about the attack. However, Australian federal government agencies believe that China is the nation behind ongoing cyber attacks on Australian institutions, including hospitals and state-owned utilities in recent months. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, China, Russia and Iran are the top 3 states suspected of sponsoring cyber operations. The Chief Executive Officer of the Cyber Security Cooperative Research Center, Rachel Fox, said while people may want to point fingers at particular countries, attributing blame was a distraction.
Up next is International Roundup.
According to Indian media reports, China has freed 10 Indian soldiers following a deadly clash between the two sides on Monday. The Hindu newspaper quoting military sources said those released included a lieutenant colonel and 3 majors. The Indian government has not confirmed the news nor confirmed that any of its troops were missing. The fight in the Galwan Valley left at least 20 Indian soldiers dead and raised tensions between the two powers. For the first time in 11 years, a police officer has been shot dead during a routine traffic stop in Auckland, New Zealand. Another officer was seriously injured. The shooter fled the scene in a vehicle and it's not known if he's been caught. Police in New Zealand do not normally carry guns and it is rare for officers to be killed in the line of duty. More than 450,000 people have died as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and more than 8.4 million people have been confirmed to have been infected, with more than 4 million have recovered. With the world's worst outbreak outside the United States, Brazil now has 978,142 confirmed cases and 47,748 deaths. Kristen Stewart will play Britain's Princess Diana in an upcoming movie about the breakdown of her marriage to Prince Charles. 30-year-old Stewart, best known for her role in the Twilight Saga movies, has been cast in the film, which will take place over 3 days in the early 1990s, when Diana made the decision to part ways with Charles and remove herself from becoming queen. The independent movie, to be directed by Chilean Pablo Larraín, is expected to start shooting in 2021. No casting was announced for Charles.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of the stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First team, I'm Martin Satyanesan. Have yourself a wonderful Friday afternoon.